In this weekend's video, I am going to be going over the top 5 first mods you should do to your Evo. Let's get right into the video. Before I start with my top 5, I do need to let you know that before you do any mods to any Evo or any car, make sure that you have a good foundation. I spent an entire year basically making sure that this Evo was in perfect mechanical condition. So when I say make sure that the car is good, what I mean is make sure that your timing belt, I'm gonna mention all of the things I did to make sure that your car is good. I did my timing belt, my water pump, I did all of my fluids, transmission, differential, oil, I mean, you name it, coolant, new radiator. I try to do everything that I could to make sure that when I started putting in mods and I started making more power, I wanted to make sure that my foundation was completely perfect. And that is very important. So I want to make sure that before you guys listen to all of these mods, I want to make sure that you guys focus on making sure you have a great foundation and a great car. Don't start modding a car, don't buy an Evo and not check the essentials, like, you know, not checking if you have, you know, fluids, tranny, differential. There's so many things to these cars, and the Evo in particular, since it's a turbocharged car, that you need to pay attention to. You need to make sure that you have everything good. So please, before you do all of this, make sure you have brakes, brake fluid, all of that. And once you have a solid foundation, then these are the top 5 first mods I would recommend. I spend so much money, as you guys might see, on this car, and there's a lot of things that I spend money on that, to be honest, it wasn't worth it. So that's the point of this video, is to help somebody out. A lot of you guys are about to get an Evo or are dreaming to get an Evo, just like I was. So I just want to do this video to help you guys not spend money on dumb shit and spend your money on, you know, a couple of things that are totally worth it, at least in my opinion. This is not in any specific order. Well, one of them is, but besides that, none of this is in a specific order. You could do it however you want to, but this is my opinion. So let's go ahead and start with number 1. Number 1 being your AFR and boost gauge. It blows my mind that Evos don't come from the factory with an AFR and boost gauge. Mine's in particular was an MR, so I did have a boost gauge. I think it was like a battery gauge and a oil temperature gauge, which was fine, but you need an AFR gauge. Like, it tells you so much information. It's the number 1 thing I recommend for all Evos. Like, if you don't have an AFR gauge or a boost gauge, get yourself one right now, because it could save your motor. Right now, there's so many times that I've had issues. As you guys have seen, the purpose of this build was driven by the fact that my AFRs was at 21, 20, and even right now I'm still having a little bit of issues with my AFRs. So it's telling me what's going on, and without that I wouldn't know, because I don't have a check engine light. So AFR and boost gauge is number 1. If you see your boost gauge passing, like for example my previous videos, I was passing 35. Imagine if I didn't have a boost gauge and I just felt that the car was good, I would have probably blown my engine, or blown something at least. So that is the number 1 thing I recommend. And make sure that you guys do get a true AFR gauge. I have an AM X series. I will link it down below. It is very accurate. Don't cheap out on this, because this is literally for the safety of your own car. Like, this is what will protect your investment, and at the end of the day, this is an investment. You guys know how much money we put into our cars. So for sure, spend money on a good boost gauge, a good AFR gauge, and you'll be safe and good to go. And make sure you guys stay till the end of the video, because I will give you guys 2 extra things that I believe are great mods for your car, and I think you guys will all agree with those 2. So I'll say those at the end of the video. Now, for my second on the list of the top 5 first mods, this is in particular to the Evo 8 and Evo 9 and Evo 7, maybe even the 4s and 5s. Your lower intercooler piping in specific, and your upper intercooler piping, and even intercooler, to be honest. the lower intercooler pipe for the Evo 8 and 9, I'm not sure if the 7, 4, and 5 or whatever, I'm almost sure it does. It is so restricted. It is insane how much this mod will make you in power. And I'm speaking about the lower intercooler pipe that comes out from the turbo outlet that goes into the intercooler. The OEM one has a restriction that's crazy. I see it and I can't believe that that came out of the dealer. I'll put a picture up here so you guys can see it. It is so restricted. By just upgrading this lower intercooler pipe, you're looking at an extra 20 horsepower, obviously with something that I'll explain later on, but it's an easy 20 horsepower gain. You're opening up your turbo, you're opening up airflow. It's just a must do. And then for the upper intercooler piping, the short route intercooler piping made such a difference for my car in particular. You get this quick response and like it's instant. Like you're not waiting. It's so much better. Like I don't know how to explain it, but so much better. That is one of the things that I installed on my car, and I said to myself, like, wow, this mod was worth it. Like there's a lot of mods that you do and you're like, this wasn't worth it, which I have a lot. If you guys are interested in me making a video of the mods that I just think it was a waste of money, let me know and I'll do a video. Besides this one, I'll do another video. But short route intercooler piping, it's just a must. Like it's a win-win situation. It makes the car look way better, and it's just a response. Like I'm gonna leave it there. The response you get and the extra 20 horsepower you get, the instant, like it removes a little bit of lag. And correct me someone if I'm wrong, but it honestly made a huge difference in my car. So I totally recommend doing at least the lower intercooler pipe, and if you could do the top one, do it as a shorter route. So basically air is flowing quicker to your intake manifold, and that's just helping more air get to where it needs to get to quicker. So at the end of the day, again, it's a win-win situation. Everything on this list is meant to be functional. I am not looking for anything for looks or anything like that. At least for the top 5, I'm concentrating on making the most gains and making sure that your Evo is running correctly and you're good to go. Like these are all functional mods. I'm not talking about aesthetics or looks or anything like that. It's just concentrating on functional mods that are going to help your Evo go faster, be more efficient, and work better on the road or even on the track. Now for number 3 on this list, and this one is not completely a must, but it changes your whole entire experience. And again, more power. I feel like I'm focusing a lot on gains, power, and drivability. And number 3 has to be downpipe and exhaust. It is insane how much power and exhaust you're freeing up by doing this. You can get, and most importantly, at least for me, is the drivability. Like listen to this. Like it just makes your car more you. Like you're enjoying the drive. Like it makes your car enjoyable to drive. I love the exhaust sound from the Tomei coming. Let's not mention the turbo from Argenari, but it's just exhaust. Downpipe, you're clearing out more exhaust, you're gonna gain more power. And not only that, it's just the fun of driving your car. Like when you have an exhaust, it just changes the whole experience, at least for a driver level. Like the Tomei, to me, I had a Buddy Club before, which was not a bad exhaust. It was actually a very good one. But this Tomei exhaust has changed my driving experience completely. It's like such a raw sound compared to my Buddy Club. So if your car doesn't have an exhaust, which I doubt it, there's barely any stock Evos out there. So if you do have a stock Evo and it's a low mile one, keep it like that, and just, you're gonna see the price increase later on. But again, to the exhaust and downpipe, it's a win-win again situation. More power, and your driving is just gonna be super fun. The noises that come out of my Tomei is insane, and I just love taking my car out just due to the exhaust. Like I love the way it sounds. So to me, it's a top 5 no matter what, and I think it's a top 5 on a lot of cars, and you guys know that. So let's continue down the list to number 4. 4 and 5 go together, but number 4 has to be going E85, which I know a lot of people might have arguments about, but if you do have E85 pump close to your house, like I do, it's literally right outside my house, it's another win-win situation for the Evo. The amount of power that you could get from just going a different fuel is insane. 50 horsepower is 50 horsepower. I've seen 80 to 100 horsepower just being gained by switching fuels. And now I'm mentioning E85R and a higher ethanol content and a lot of that. But E85, the number one reason why I would recommend E85 and the reason why it's on this top 5 is the safety of it for your engine. E85 is much cooler. It's like alcohol. When you put it on your hand, it feels super cool. The same thing the engine is feeling in the combustion chamber. So by going E85, you're able to protect your engine, I guess, sort of say. But there are pros and cons to E85. When you're on E85, you constantly have to be checking on your engine. You actually have to check on your oil. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into it, but in my case, you guys know that I spend almost 24 hours in my garage, so that's not an issue for me, at least. I like it that if I go to a track day or whatever, you know how the engine's running super hot. It's just a safety measure, honestly. Like it's I don't even do it for the power, even though the extra 50 horsepower that I'm getting just on E85 is worth it. I do it more for a safety measure. It's running cooler, timing. Also, there's so many things that E85 helps with. There are cons, like I said. You got to clean your injectors once in a while. You just have to make sure that you're paying attention to your engine, because E85 could cause issues. But again, there's more pros than there are cons. So look up videos of like what are the pros and cons, because I'm sure there's billions of videos talking about this. But this goes with my number 5 on this list, and I think number 5 is very important for all Evo owners, which is tuning. Tuning. Once you get a tune for your Evo, it just changes the whole thing. Everything I've mentioned besides the gauges have to be tuned. Like if you're switching your exhaust, you're switching your intercooler piping, you don't have to do it right away, but once you do it, that changes everything in your car. And when I say everything, I mean it. The first time I tuned, which was when I went E85, I think I have a couple of videos. That was way back. That was like maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I would say. When I went on E85 and I did all of these bolt-ons, I didn't realize once I got to tuning, my car's boost, again, I installed everything at the same time, the boost gauges and everything. My car's boost was at like 10 PSI. And I'm over here driving for an entire year. Again, I did focus on restoring and fixing everything mechanical, but I'm over here driving my Evo at autocross events, driving my Evo, you know, brand new Evo owner, stepping on it, thinking I have a fast Evo. I was at 10 PSI and my tune was all over the place. But once I tuned the car, everything changed, like everything. From 250 something horsepower all the way up to 350. My torque was instant. Everything just changed completely. I shaved like 6 seconds from my time at the autocross event, the local autocross I have at Homestead Speedway, and it just changes everything. So if you have an Evo, you don't know what the previous owner did unless you do know him, but get a professional tuner and just link up with him. There's tuners everywhere all around the United States and around the world. And even if you don't have a local tuner, you can always remote tune, which I did from Miami, Florida. So get yourself a tuner and tune your car once you do all of your mods. It is better for you to do all of your mods and then tune your car. That way you don't have to just keep retuning back and forth. But do your research, get yourself a tuner and tune after you do these first couple of mods, because you will not regret it. I am telling you. This opened my eyes to what an Evo really was, and from here everything started. Everything that you guys are seeing here on this channel started from me doing those mods. I didn't do them in that particular order, which I wish I did. I wish I would have seen a video like this that's telling me, you know, what to do and what not to do, because honestly I've spent so much money on dumb shit that I really shouldn't have spent money on. Now, I did promise 2 extra mods that I would recommend, and I'm going to cover them right now. One of them, it is suspension coilovers. The stock Evo Bilstein shocks are super good, don't get me wrong, but coilovers are a must. I got Fortune Auto coilovers. If you guys are interested, I'll see if I have some pictures or videos that I can put here. Fortune Auto coilovers, or whatever coilovers you could get. Try to get pretty good coilovers, obviously. A must. There's so many like pros to it. There's barely any cons, to be honest. It feels smooth, it feels great. My whole drivability changed. My timing on, again, I'm focused more on track and autocross and all of that, so my times went down. And then my number 7 is wheels and tires. I know that this is not a must, this is not something you have to do, but wheels and tires, I got a bigger tire, bigger wheel. And when I mean bigger, I mean the width of the wheel. I'm running 9.5s with a 255 3518 Needle NT05 tire, and that shaved 2 seconds of my autocross time, which again, every second matters, and that was huge. So those are gonna be my 2 extra tips. I know that is not a must, and also the looks of the car, it changes everything. Like I love my wheels. C37s were always my dream wheels, so I do recommend that without a doubt. So I'm going to be ending the video there. I hope this video was informative to all of you guys. Whoever's buying an Evo or has an Evo, these mods are going to help you out tremendously. When I say tremendously, I'm talking functional and to gain more power. So expect more how-to videos. We have a couple of things to do. We have an O2 sensor that I think I need to change on this Evo, and we also have a catch can coming up, so I am going to be doing an oil catch can, which should be a great video for you guys. So like I said, I hope this video was informative. Like always, keep grinding, and I will see you guys next weekend. Take care.